From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily for Friday, March 24th. A really wet day is in our plans for the day. Areas in south central Indiana are going to see the heaviest rain for the longer period of time. Thursday into Friday, we're going to be dealing with this. 2 inches of rain expected, south areas possibly seeing even higher amounts. Flooding is likely. Possibility of flash flooding and moderate river flooding are possible. There could be some periods of rain that are more scattered instead of widespread Friday afternoon. Highs are going to get into the low 50s. So just have that rain gear handy. Be careful when you're driving around. There is ponding out there on the roadways. This morning, we did have breaking news out of Syria. The Pentagon says a U.S. contractor is dead and more are wounded after a suspected Iranian-affiliated drone struck a facility holding U.S. personnel. 5 U.S. service members and an additional contractor are among the wounded. According to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, President Biden then authorized an airstrike in eastern Syria in response. That airstrike was targeted against facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. The U.S. maintains approximately 900 troops in Syria. Back here at home, prayers and balloons are flying high. More than a week after a teenager disappeared from Eaton, the town held a vigil last night for Scotty Morris as police once again plead for help in the search.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
A small town in Delaware County.
We just can't believe in 2 days how big this has become, and we thank the community for it. I hope this leads Scotty home. Thank you, God.
Together for one purpose.
It's all about Scotty. Let's bring Scotty home.
Hundreds of people who have searched for 14-year-old Scotty Morris for days honor him with a vigil.
We're hoping by doing this that we get Scotty home, that Scotty sees this. He sees that he is loved. He's not in trouble at all.
Scotty's picture illuminated by candles. Balloons released with messages of love and hope.
I know that God is with him right now, that he's keeping him warm, and that he's going to send him back to us.
Eaton police and the community have searched since last Thursday using police dogs, boats, and drones, but still no sign of Scotty.
We all miss you. I mean, I didn't really know you, but I want this thing to have a good ending.
Police are now renewing their call for home surveillance video from 8:15 to 11 p.m. on March 16th. Until he's found, the town vows to keep looking.
Scotty, your family believes with all their heart that you're coming home. So, honey, they miss you. They love you. All one purpose, one mind, find Scotty. Love Scotty.
Anyone with home security video from last Thursday night or any other information about Scotty is asked to call Eaton Police. The number is 765-396-3297. Westfield police are sending a warning about a dangerous counterfeit drug. Police call it Pyro. It's light blue with dark blue flecks and looks like an oxycodone pill with an M printed on one side and a 30 on the other. Police claim the drug can be 1,500 times more powerful than morphine and more dangerous than fentanyl. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office has already connected one death to the drug. Westfield schools say they're heeding the warnings from police and are educating students about the drug. Fort Wayne police are issuing a warning about a scam through Facebook Marketplace. The department says people are buying things with counterfeit money. Investigators say the buyer typically leaves quickly, so the seller doesn't have time to realize the money is phony. Police say the bills are clearly marked with the words, "for motion picture use only." They suggest thoroughly examining cash before giving the buyer your item. Hundreds of people on Purdue's campus flooded the university's Memorial Union to protest a guest speaker. The university tells News 8 the Purdue College Republicans invited Michael Knowles to campus. Knowles is a commentator for the conservative website The Daily Wire. He's previously called for the eradication of transgenderism. There were other students that said they were looking forward to hearing what Knowles had to say. University officials say Knowles and other external speakers do not necessarily represent Purdue's viewpoints. And our IT mate is looking into what led to the arrest of the Knox County coroner. First talked about this on the podcast yesterday. iTeammate's senior investigative reporter Richard Essex explains the case.
Indiana State Police have charged 40-year-old Karen Donovan, the Knox County coroner, with 3 felonies, 2 for drug possession and 1 for official misconduct. The arrest comes after months of complaints that Donovan had just stopped coming to work.
Everything came to a head first Friday of March, where I had received a phone call from one of our deputy coroners who told me what was going on, what was not going on.
Here is the latest publicly available picture of Karen Donovan from the Indiana State Police. Late this morning, iTeammate found her county-owned SUV parked outside of the Knox County Jail. We are told by the Knox County Republican Chairman David Shelton that complaints aimed at Donovan started coming in within months of her taking office in 2021. The coroner's office does not have a physical address. The first-term coroner was running her office from her home and a rented storage unit. Shelton says that the rent on the storage unit hadn't been paid in months.
And that unit was actually scheduled to go to public auction this weekend. This unit contained all coroner reports, autopsy reports. It contained personal effects of the deceased, as well as body bags, mass casualty bags, and other, coroner-related supplies.
The county has recovered everything in that storage unit. Donovan is accused of not paying the salaries of deputy coroners or any of the bills related to her office since November of 2022.
The highest cost item that we pay for are autopsies. And those on average range about $5,000 a month. So you can multiply that by 6. And that alone is about $30,000 we are in arrears on autopsies. And for the lack of physicians that provide this service, that put us in a very, very tight spot.
Knox County Commissioner Kelly Streeter says the county has stopped paying Donovan's salary for failure to complete required coroner training. Removing the coroner from office could be tricky. Donovan hasn't responded to calls for her resignation, and arrest is not grounds for her removal. A felony conviction would automatically remove her from office. Streeter says Indiana statute does provide for the removal of an office holder who doesn't show up for work. However, county sheriffs and coroners are exempt. How difficult is it going to be to remove her from this elected office?
So we have to look at another avenue, which is, of course, listing as a supermajority our grievances, lobbying our prosecutor for judicial impeachment. And that's the avenue we're going to take. We've been building a case for a while.
Commissioner Streeter says the Knox County Coroner's Office is currently staffed by 3 deputy coroners who have kept the office going without Donovan's input for months. The county commissioners have assumed the handling of all expenses related to the coroner's office. The commissioners will start talking about impeachment proceedings at their next meeting in April. In Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV, iTeam8.
Prosecutors have filed charges against the man accused of firing wildly down Keystone, wounding a worker at a store across the street. Marquise Tipton is charged with aggravated battery and 2 counts of criminal recklessness. The shooting happened Monday at a Shell station on 71st Street across Keystone from Sullivan Hardware. Police say Tipton had pulled into the station after a crash. They say Tipton admits he fired shots at an SUV that he believed had caused the crash and said the SUV driver waved a gun at Tipton. Police say surveillance video showed the actual SUV involved in the crash left before the gunshots. Investigators say a stray bullet hit a 64-year-old worker at Sullivan's in the eye. IPS says it's moving forward with all parts of the district revamp called Rebuilding Stronger, even with half the funding requests leaders initially asked for. Superintendent Dr. Alicia Johnson made the formal announcement yesterday, echoing what she told Daybreak viewers a month ago. In May, taxpayers will decide whether to okay a $410 million measure for capital expenses for IPS. The board decided not to also put an operating referendum on the ballot. Johnson says she'll pursue that option in another election, but until then, will reallocate money and find cost savings to make the revamp happen. A $65 million investment will be used to breathe new life into a stagnant block near downtown Indianapolis. Local developer TWG will tear down 5 vacant buildings in the 1800 block of North Meridian Street. In their place will be a 6-story apartment building with first-floor retail space. A 6th building is being turned into the new home of healthcare provider Adult and Child Health. 5% of the apartment units will be reserved for affordable housing. Just under $5 million is coming from a city TIF bond. A completion date is set for May of 2025. In nearly 6 hours of testimony, it appears the CEO of TikTok did little to persuade Congress members of the platform's safety yesterday. Xu Zichu arrived at the Capitol yesterday, went through security in a rare public appearance. Lawmakers grilled Chu on TikTok's security when it comes to U.S. data and its potential negative impact on children. It's a bipartisan agenda to weigh whether TikTok should be banned in the U.S.
We do not trust TikTok will ever embrace American values. Values for freedom, human rights, and innovation. TikTok has repeatedly chosen the path for more control, more surveillance, and more manipulation. Your platform should be banned.
Chu remains steadfast, saying the platform does not pose a security risk, claiming there's no evidence that China is using TikTok to obtain U.S. data.
Our approach has never been to dismiss or trivialize any of these concerns. We have addressed them with real action. The bottom line is this: American data stored on American soil by an American company, overseen by American personnel.
Chu refers there to TikTok's LA headquarters that employs 7,000 people. There is still no decision on whether the platform will be banned nationwide. Congress, the White House, and more than half of U.S. states have already banned it from official devices. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention is sounding the alarm about a potential new threat from a dangerous fungus. The CDC reports the fungus can easily spread through healthcare facilities and potentially cause deadly disease. It was first seen in the U.S. in 2016, and cases have skyrocketed to nearly 1,500. Now, it's present in more than half of the United States. The fungus is also resistant to some disinfectants. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has a list of products that can kill the virus. New research shows getting vaccinated or taking Paxlovid during a COVID-19 infection lowers the risk of developing long COVID. The study was published yesterday in JAMA Internal Medicine. It analyzed data from 41 studies, including more than 860,000 people from around the world. According to the data, people who'd been vaccinated were almost half as likely to develop long COVID than people who were not vaccinated. It also shows taking Paxlovid was linked with a 26% lower risk of long COVID. A court in Michigan says the parents of a school shooter can face trial for involuntary manslaughter. Ethan Crumbley killed 4 students at a high school in 2021. He's waiting for sentencing. An appeals court ruled yesterday that the case against his parents can move forward, finding that the murders would not have happened if Jennifer and James Crumbley had not bought their son the weapon, or if they'd taken him home when the school notified them about extreme drawings he made on the day of the shootings. Attorneys for the parents say the Crumbleys could not have predicted the shooting. At least one of the NCAA underdogs keeps dancing as the Sweet 16 gets underway. Florida Atlantic pulled off another upset last night, beating Tennessee 62-55. FAU, a number 9 seed, playing in March Madness for only the second time. Kansas State and Gonzaga also won their way into the Elite Eight. UConn won in a blowout. There are 4 more games tonight. And finally, to business headlines, Apple plans to spend $1 billion a year to produce movies that will be released in theaters. Apple has approached movie studios about partnering to release a few titles in theaters this year and a slate of more films in the future, according to Bloomberg. Movie theater stocks were higher on the news. Walmart is laying off hundreds of employees at e-commerce fulfillment centers across the country. The big box giant joins a growing list of retailers, including Amazon and Target, that are cutting costs. Many retailers plan on roughly flat or declining sales as inflation hits spending. Restaurants in America are expecting to see a growing number of delivery and takeout orders for food and alcohol in 2023 despite inflation. The National Restaurant Association found that many restaurants are turning delivery and takeout-focused pandemic pivots into permanent business. Nearly half of Americans are traveling this spring, according to new research. Conducted by one poll for Dutch Brothers, the survey found that 44% of Americans need an energizing pick-me-up to help gear themselves up for warmer weather. Respondents are more likely to say that cheaper, smaller pleasures like a good cup of coffee or taking a brisk walk have a better impact on their mood than larger pleasures like splurging on something expensive or going on vacation. And as we approach the spring holidays like Easter and Passover, Instacart says Reese's peanut butter eggs are the clear favorite in 29 states, including the entire West Coast, for Easter treats. The unleavened flatbread called matzah remains a pantry staple for Passover celebrations worldwide. makes sense. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.